Okay, day 4, parallel line relationship proofs. So let's go ahead and name the different types of relationships we've learned this unit. Remember, on your test, these are not going to be given to you. So you have to remember them. So why don't you go ahead and take a second and pause. These 4 need to be your congruent 4, and these ones are going to be your supplementary 2. So take a second and pause and see if yours match up with mine. First one I'm going to write down is vertical. Angles, they're congruent. Then we have corresponding angles. They're also congruent. So like 1 and 5 would be corresponding here. Vertical angles would be like 1 and 3. Alternate interior and exterior. So alternate interior would be like 4 and 6. Alternate exterior would be like 2 and 8. Now for our supplementary, we have linear pairs. So that would be like 1 and 2, 1 and 4, 4 and 3. They equal 180. And the last one, consecutive interior. They also equal 180, supplementary. So that would be like 4 and 5, 3 and 6. Let's go with our proof. Step 1. Always write the given. Line M is parallel to line N. I'm trying to prove that angle 4 and 8 are equal to each other. So 4 and 8 are equal. Well, I know that their relationship is corresponding angles. So I'm going to say that angle 4 is congruent to angle 8. How do I know that? Because they're corresponding angles. So corresponding angle theorem. And now I'm going to convert it from a congruent sign to an equal sign. So step 3, measurement of angle 4 is equal to measurement of angle 8. How can I toggle between congruent to equals? Definition of congruence. Sometimes there are proofs that say like that have this question and have the same given, but they say do not use corresponding angle theorem. So you have to kind of find a way around it. So you'd have to say like 4 is congruent to, we're talking about 8. So 4 is congruent to 6 through alternate interior. 6 is congruent to 8 through vertical angles. Therefore, 4 is congruent to 8 through transitive property. And then transfer it to equal signs. Next one, write down the given. Line M is parallel to line N. Given. Step 2. Well, let's look at our picture first. So our picture, we're trying to prove that 1 and 6 are supplementary. All the given said was these 2 lines are parallel. So 1 and 6 are supplementary. So 1's here, 6 is here. I don't have a direct relationship there. However, I do have a relationship between 1 and 5. Angle 1 and angle 5 are corresponding, and then 5 and 6 are supplementary. So let's see if we can use that. First, let's start off with 1 and 5. So angle 1 is congruent to angle 5. How do I know that? Because they're corresponding. So corresponding angle theorem. I know that angle 5 and angle 6 are supplementary. So angle 5 and angle 6 are supplementary. So now I'm saying something like my proof step. I know that because they are linear pairs, so linear pair theorem. You could also say supplementary angle theorem. Now, because I have angle 5 here, I'm trying to get angle 1 in that same position. Well, angle 1 and angle 5 are congruent to each other. So what I could do is I could, instead of 5 here, I could plug in 1 in its place and say angle 1 instead of 5 because they're congruent. They're interchangeable. So I could say angle 1 and angle 6 are supplementary. Why? Well, I just substituted it in its place. Substitution. Now my proof step matches my last step that I have here. So I am done. Flip it over when you're ready. Step 1, write your given. Line M is parallel to line N. All right, so we're trying to prove that 1 and 8 are supplementary. Well, 1 and 8 are both on the exterior part of my graph, but they're both on the same side. So I don't have alternate exterior, so I need to find a roundabout way to say that. So I'm trying to prove that they're supplementary. So I could go ahead and talk about 1 and 7 being congruent. Then I'll talk about 7 and 8 being supplementary, and then see if I can use substitution again. So let's talk about 1 and 7. What do I know about 1 and 7? I know that they are congruent. So angle 1 is congruent to angle 7. I could also say equal here. I could say equal, which means that like number 1 here, I could have said equal instead of congruent. This could have been a 2-step proof. So I'm saying that 1 and 7 are congruent because they're alternate exterior angles, and this is a theorem. Okay, now I'm trying to get to 1 and 8. So I'm going to say 7 and 8 and angle 8 are supplementary. Why do I know that? Well, they're linear pairs, so linear pair theorem. Oops. Now, because angle 1 is equal or congruent to angle 7, I can replace this angle 7 here with a 1. So angle 1 and angle 8 are supplementary. How did I do that? I just substituted 1 in place for 7. So substitution. Okay, let's do one more challenging one. So this is not on your paper, probably you need to add it. So take a second, pause the video, and add this challenge problem. It says given line M is parallel to line N, measurement of angle 2 is 50 degrees. Prove the measurement of angle 5 is 130. I have 7 steps in this proof. Should be about 7. Could have been 8 if you broke your given up into 2 steps. So let's take a look. We want to prove that measurement angle 5 is 130. Right now, all we're really being told is that M is parallel to N, perfect, and 2 is 50 degrees. I'm trying to prove that 5 is equal to something. 2 and 5 do not have a direct relationship. So I could say something about 2 and 6 in order to get close to 5. I'm thinking what can get me close to 5? I could talk about 2 and 8, but I'll go ahead and talk about 2 and 6. What's their relationship? They are corresponding angles. So I know that angle 2 equals angle 6. So step 2, I'm going to say measurement of angle 2 equals measurement of angle 6. I used equals because up here in my proof, I've been using equals through here. So I'm going to use equals. How do I know that? Corresponding angle theorem. Especially since you don't have lines, it's really important that you number and you try to keep it even. So now I have 6. I can try to get from 5 to 6. So 6 and 5 here, they're supplementary because they're right next to each other. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of like I did here, I'm going to say that angle 5 and angle 6 are supplementary. So angle 5 and angle 6 are supplementary. How do I know that? Because they're linear pairs. Now I'm thinking I'm going to have to do subtraction in order to get to angle 5. So let's go ahead and set up an equation. What does it mean that these are supplementary? Well, it means that if I were to add these two angles together, they would equal 180. So measurement of angle 5 plus measurement of angle 6 equals 180 degrees. How do I know that? Because of the word supplementary. So I'm going to write for my reason, definition of supplementary. You could leave it like that, or supplementary angles. Step 5. Okay, so let's see here. I know that 5 plus 6 is, angle 5 plus angle 6 is 180. I also know that angle 2 and angle 6 are the same thing. So what I could do right now is instead of this measurement angle 6, I can go ahead and I can plug in angle 2 into its spot. So I can say measurement of angle 5 plus measurement of angle 2 here. I'm replacing the angle 6 with angle 2 here. And this equals 180. All I did was substitute 2 in for 6. So substitution. Now, I know that angle 2 is 50 degrees. It was in my given. So I have measurement of angle 5 plus 50 degrees equals 180. And if you wanted to put degree marks on these, you could, like degrees, 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 degrees. Again, we substitute. So you can either put the quotation marks here or write out substitution again. Number 7. Now let's get measurement of angle 5 alone. So let's subtract 50 on both sides. So measurement of angle 5 equals 180 minus 50 is 130 degrees. That was subtraction POE. Now take a look. We're trying to prove that, and that's our last step. So we are done. This was a challenging question. However, you might see it again.